Hello, everyone. I am Erika Shorty, Business Engagement Manager with Charlotte Works, and I am sitting here today, kind of virtually, with Trent Hobbs. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity. I'm just happy to be here.
I'm happy you are here too. It's really crazy that we are in these times right now, but you are a living, breathing testimony that we are getting jobs, we are getting hired. There are success stories out here in the midst of a global pandemic. So I want to ask you first, what was that experience like? Searching for a job, searching for a career in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah. So with that being said, Charlotte Works helped me find an amazing job up front. You know, I found a great job where I was working for the Center for Attention Leadership, loved it, and lost it due to COVID. And I'll be honest, it was scary. It felt like it's starting over all over again. And it was a scary feeling. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I didn't want to waste the time. And I didn't know how much time we was going to be shut in.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was really doing a lot of reading, a lot of me and my wife, we kept encouraging each other. She helped, she was finished her degree, her master's degree. So, you know, kind of helped her out with that and everything. So it was, you know, I kept staying busy, but at the same time, the back of my head was like, I got to recover from this. I got to come back from it. So what I did is that I continued putting out the resumes, even though I felt like the economy wasn't doing, you know, what it's supposed to be doing and wasn't making the money it's supposed to do. I kept putting out the resumes, so eventually I know I get caught up. My name will eventually show up in those resumes when they're looking at them.
Right. What were your expectations, or did you have any expectations when going through this process initially? What were some of your expectations from Charlotte Works or NCWorks, if you had any?
Initially, I didn't have any expectations at all. I mean, I sat with Mr. Wright and I gave him my resume, and we went through the counseling that he does, in which, you know, it was a great experience. But, you know, I went through so many other agencies, and I just felt like, you know, hey, if something comes, it don't. But after talking to Charlotte Works and sitting there with Mr. Wright, and then I got that phone call from you, Shorty, which I remember.
Yes, you did.
And when you initially interviewed me for that great job, it set me up here to establish myself here in Charlotte, North Carolina, to be honest with you.
I remember that conversation like it was yesterday. So for those, just to give some background, Charlotte Works has something called the Talent Source Network. And what we do is we work with businesses where we help them get the talent that they need. They give us the criteria, and we work with our community partners and saying, hey, here is the criteria from XYZ employer. Who can you send over that fits the requirements for this? And I remember your resume showing up on my desk and the excitement that you had. That was such an awesome connection to have interviewed you, and then for us to be on the news essentially.
Exactly.
Like a year later.
Connection, right? Like how that all turns around. Because you gotta be honest with you, I'm a Mississippi boy. I took a chance moving up here in North Carolina, and then getting that phone call from you, you know, after I did that initial just meeting with Mr. Wright, that kind of set the tone for me, you know, establish myself in Charlotte. Like right now, I feel like this is gonna be my home for the next 30, 40 years. I'm gonna be here for a good while. And I'm very appreciative of it.
We're appreciative of you because it's people like you that come in with a hunger. Like I remember interviewing you and you were like, listen, I know what I have to offer. I know what I've done. And you don't see that often. You know, you see a lot of times we talk to individuals who are really discouraged by the things that they've gone through. I mean, we're human. We're having a human moment here. You know, I came to Charlotte on a whim, and I found Charlotte Works, literally moved here the end of April of 2015, was hired with Charlotte Works 2.5 weeks later. Wow. You know, I'm talking like driving from Virginia to Charlotte 3-4 times a week, 5 hours just driving. So seeing how hungry you were and knowing what you brought to the table was really, really refreshing. I do want to.
I'm sorry. That's why I'm
No,
saying
go ahead.
That's watching this and that's looking through Charlotte Works. You got to be hungry. You know, you got to keep pushing. Even though you don't get that first initial call, that first initial interview, you got to keep going because something's going to hit. You know, eventually something's going. You only go up, and a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. Look, I want you to stay in that vein really quick because when you talk about employment, right? You know, initially, I think people. We're changing the mentality of I need to find a gig and I'm looking for an opportunity. So talk to me a little bit about what your expectations were for an employer. Like what are you looking for from an employer when you are interviewing and seeking out a new career, essentially?
So when I'm talking to an employer, the first question after we do the whole spill and their interview and everything else, and you have any questions? The first question I will ask them: what's the opportunity to grow within the company? Like, I'm looking for stability. You know, I'm one of those people that I want to get this job, but I want to grow within the company. So what's my next step? How can I get your job?
Yeah.
You know, and you got to be bold enough to ask them that because it's not that you're saying yourself, you know, you're scaring that your manager, but you're showing them that you're hungry. And that you're ambitious and that you want to learn from them. And so they'll probably take you up under your wing.
Yeah.
I'm honest with you, but you just have to you got to be motivated. You got to be hungry.
What do you say to people that, you know, a lot of times I think people go into job interviews and they think that it's one-sided. They think that they need to tell an employer all of the things that they need to hear so that they can get the job. But I don't think a lot of people understand that it's a dual interview. They're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them to see what they offer and to see if you will be happy at their establishment. What do you say to someone who feels like they're not comfortable asking those hard questions?
You know what? It's funny that you bring that up because I'll talk to somebody today. Now, it's all about preparation. And like you said, interviews are a dual-way process. You're trying to see if you fit the company. They're trying to see if you fit the company. You know? Yeah. So with that being said, they're interviewing, but have you done your prep work?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Do you even know the company's mission statement?
Right.
Do you know the company's hours? Do you know if that company will fit you? Do you know there is a growth program within that company? You know, you got to do your research before. And if you do that research before and you already know half the battle that you're even going to, you're going to feel confident.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go into these conversations not knowing the subject. You know, you're getting interviewed. Yeah, they're asking you all these questions, but they're looking at you like, are you even wondering about the company?
That's it.
Are you here for a little while? Or do you want to grow within? I feel like employers ask that.
Those are the hard questions, and I think now because we are in the midst of uncertain times. You know, this is something that none of us have ever experienced before. And when we look at the grand scheme of things, when we look at the bigger picture, right, we want to know certain questions like, how did your company pivot in the midst of the pandemic? What were some ways that you were supporting your employees during these uncertain times? So I want to ask you, what do you feel as someone who you've relocated, you know, to this area, you were a job seeker in this pandemic. What do you think employers can offer either future employees or their current employees to show their support during uncertain times?
So I think this pandemic has showed us that the workforce is going to change in some way. In some way, capacity is going to change. There's going to be some working from home. There's going to be some working in the office. There's going to be some extra attention to make sure that our office are clean and sanitized. And I think that employers are going to have to show that their care for their employees during this pandemic is important. So if we open up the office, we open an office, but we also offer these services where every night, you know, we're paying to make sure that you come into a safe environment.
Yeah.
Because working from home, it's fun and everything. I get it, but sometimes you want to go in the office and just see your buddy. but also, you know, employees want to know that during these times like this, because we have been exposed to it now. So if we ever exposed to it again, do we have a plan to protect our employees? And like, I think that needs to be a factor at this point. You know, yeah, we experienced this, and we haven't experienced anything like this in a while. You know, Black Plague, I don't know, long that was back then. But now that we experienced COVID, how can we protect our employees for future pandemics? And I think that's going to have to be a factor going on forward in the workforce.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think now, you know, this adds a different layer to employment, period. You know, after here, it's how can I be safe? You know, how can I do my job effectively, but also making sure that I am keeping my family safe as well. And it shifts the way we look at how work is essentially done.
Absolutely.
You know, I take like 3 years ago, you know, where it seemed like there was a spike of people, you know, wanting that flexibility to work from home. And there were certain things like forms that had to be put in place. You had to, you know, request to work from home. And I think this time just really shows how much of our workload can actually be virtual. Yeah. How flexible can an employer be in these times when we have children? I know for myself, I have 2 children that are doing school from home. So those are factors that we have to think about, is how can we get the job done and still be here for our families? You know what?
I have a team of agents that work for me, and, you know, through the company I work with, and like the company I work with, I don't know, like the company I work with, they actually provide everything that you need to work from home. I mean, they gave you a battery pack just in case that, you know, your lights go off. They gave you a 100-foot Ethernet cord just in case, you know, you lose your Wi-Fi. I mean, you know, companies have to start thinking like that.
Yeah.
Because if you want your people to work from home, you're going to have to provide them with equipment to it. And, you know, and I'm sorry to say, it's part of the business. And then, but in turn, if your employees see that you care about them working for you, you're actually providing for them, they don't have to come out their own pocket just to be working for you, they're kind of cool with working from home.
Yeah.
You know? They really are. But you got to help them out. You got to meet them at least halfway, you know?
That's it. I was just about to say that. I think when companies start to shift from what can my employees do for me to what can I do for my employees, especially during these times, I think that's what makes successful matches between job seekers and employers. And I gotta ask this question because you are not new to the Charlotte Works, NCWorks process and how things are going. What are some things that you really admired about going through our offices to look for employment versus another agency per se?
Okay, the biggest thing I liked about it is just not just like filling out an application and just, you know, I call you, I find a job. And there's so many agencies just like that. And the kind of thing about it, if I can say it, so Mr. Wright, he found me in a computer lab, and he just came in there and said, anybody look for a job? And I was like, I kind of want a job, because I just moved there. I kind of want a job. I don't know if I'm ready yet. He's like, just come see me. So we sat in his office, and he said, show me your resume. And I was in there printing off my resume for another job. Okay, there's no reason you can't find a job right now. So not only did he look at not only he seeked me out, okay, which he didn't have to do. He seeked me out. He saw my resume, but he also took time to coach me the same day. Like, he was making marks on my resume the same day. And he was telling me about the STAR system when you interview. You know, the same day before we met him. You know, and it was crazy. I didn't expect none of that. And that's what I'm about. It's just not turning in your resume or your just filling out an application, Charlotte Works. It's more than that. You got the opportunity to get coached. Yeah. You got the opportunity to do interview, do interview appointments and everything. Like, you sit there and practice your interviews, and we sit there and do that. So it's more to it, you know. And I think that the program that you guys have is very beneficial, and A lot of people need to utilize it. Really, they really do.
I appreciate that.
It just happened on a whim. You know, it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Charlotte Works is amazing. Really, it is.
It's funny because as a business engagement manager, I've been with the company now for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, you know, I essentially came to Charlotte Works to look for a job. I didn't think that they were going to hire me.
It's funny how that works, right?
It's funny how that works. I didn't think that they had anything. You know, I came fresh into Charlotte, North Carolina, not knowing anyone, not knowing anything about Charlotte except, you know, I'm 85 South and 85 North, and that was pretty much it for me. But, and this is me speaking from a job seeker standpoint, mm-hmm. to be able to go in to look for employment and for them to see the strength in my resume and say, no, we have a place for you here. And you don't see many companies that do that. You don't see many agencies that say, well, there's a position that we have available. So I always come from the lens of, you know, I didn't seek this company out thinking that this was a place for me to work and a place for me to help other people find work. But it's funny how life works that way.
Absolutely.
And so when people ask me, you know, what do I love most about this organization, is I love that they have a heart for people. Yeah. I mean, that's essentially what this is. Employment has the power and the opportunity to change the footprint of the trajectory of families. You know Absolutely. What I mean? Absolutely. So to be able to be a part of that means a lot to me. And to be able to have this interview with you, and it's full circle.
Us full circle. That's crazy, right?
It does my heart so good. Like, I'm so excited that not only you found employment, but you found a place that you like.
I found a residency. You know, I found the home here in Charlotte, and you know, I couldn't have found that without, you know, the help with Charlotte Works and, you know, finding a job, because, you know, I gotta find some job. I gotta find some type of income, and it was I had to help. And like you said, man, you know, they really, you know, they really hone on what your skills are. My skills are leadership. I got a master's degree in leadership, and they got me a job and for the Center of Attention Leadership and leadership. So it worked out great. So I'm excited for you. To you guys. I swear I will.
This is awesome. I really appreciate you spending your time just talking about your experience, because you don't know how your experience helps someone else who may have just moved to the area in these times. So I thank you. I appreciate you. Keep pushing, keep inspiring people to go out there and put their best foot forward. You're awesome. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Hey, everybody that see this, man, just keep pushing. Don't get discouraged, and just keep going. You know, just keep pushing, keep moving, and be confident. You guys got this. I promise you do.